So I'd like to call the January 10th, 2018 meeting of the Township Committee of Long Hill to order. Would everybody please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Debbie, could you take roll, please?
Yes, and I'm going to take a full roll call for the Board of Health meeting coming up.
Oh, that's
as
right.
well. Committeeman Maringolo.
Here.
Committeeman Ray.
Present.
Committeeman Schuler.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Dorsey.
Yes.
Mayor Pasurcia.
Present.
Mr. Trout.
Here.
And Dr. Redling is absent. So are we going to recess this meeting so we can do the Board of Health?
Okay, so we're going to take a brief recess, and I turn it over to Debbie again, I think.
Yes. Okay. Meeting of this notice was properly published in the Echo Sentinel and on our board as per statute. Mr. Dorsey and Mr. Schuler were voted as our new board members this year, and will be signing their oaths shortly. And we need to do nominations for president. I would like a motion to nominate the president of the Long Hill Board of Health for 2018.
Excuse me, Debbie, can we do that before we
Get sworn in.
get sworn in?
Sworn in.
You're sworn in.
Oh,
Oh, we are?
You are.
Oh,
You said.
I'd like to nominate Matt Dorsey.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Close, a motion to close nominations.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now I would like a motion to elect Mr. Dorsey as president of the 2018 Long Hill Board of Health.
So moved.
Second?
Oh, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thought Brett was going to make a run this year.
You're safe, President.
Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
The agenda is yours.
Yes, the main item on our agenda today is appointing Mr. Pigeon, the Township Board of Health Attorney for 2018. Can I have a motion to do so, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any other nominations?
No, this is just an appointment.
Oh, well,
So I'll
nobody
call-
volunteered anyway.
Mr. Trout?
Yes.
Mr. Maringolo?
Yes.
Mr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mr. Pasurcia?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
And President Dorsey.
Yes.
Thank you.
The other item is moving to approve the minutes from the January 11th, 2017 and December 13th Board of Health meeting. Can I have a motion to do so, please?
So moved.
Second, anyone?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Are there any discussion items at this point? Seeing none. Anybody from the public you'd like to discuss anything with the Board of Health? Seeing that nobody jumped up, I'll close the public comment and I'll make a motion to adjourn the Board of Health reorg meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's, meeting's adjourned, starting 39.
We're back live? It'll be 4 years.
Yes.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
See you, Brett, thanks.
Thank you very much.
So let's go to liaison reports. I know it's early in the year, so maybe there's not too much, but
School Board elected Marta Moakley as School Board President
All right.
for our local school district. Marta is a resident of Sherwood Drive, a neighbor of mine, and outstanding school board member.
good news then.
Very good. End of report.
Cornell?
Nothing to report.
Matt?
Oh, yes, from the DPW. One, if you have any Christmas trees, Hanukkah bushes, or whatever, you can put them out anytime. It doesn't have to be on your designated garbage collection day. Somebody asked me that once. So you can put it out any day, leave it curbside. As they drive by and do their thing, they'll pick it up. And they're only doing it in January. So if you don't do it in the next 3 weeks, well, you're going to have to dispose of it yourself. Second, again, they did a great job clearing the snow last week, and in fact, I even spoke to Mr. Sweeney on Friday. Our town was clear for the school to go back, delayed opening on Friday. However, I think it was due to something that was going on with the high school. That's why they canceled our schools. But our people had the roads clean. They did a great job to make them safe for everybody. Along those lines, just a reminder that you're not supposed to throw snow from your property onto the street. So that we do have an ordinance about that. Obviously, we don't want to give anybody a ticket or do anything else, but please do not put the snow from your driveway or yard or walkways back onto the street. Oh, and another thing is, this is good news. Ice skating is open for business at the lake. I drove by there the other day. It's all clear. They had some kids out there playing hockey already. It was good to see. And the lake has 8.5 inches of thickness as of last Friday. And in years past, we weren't even able to get on there long before this time of year, so the ice is more than thick, and I think they can probably even drive a truck on it to plow it if they need to.
But don't.
But don't. So it's safe, and if anybody wants to go play hockey, skate, and enjoy it, please go do so. That would be it.
Lieutenant Naga's here, and perhaps he'll want to say something about this. But there have been a number of miscreants in the township stealing cars, and so I would urge everyone to lock their cars. Don't have the keys. Don't leave the keys in them. And a lot of the thefts have occurred. They're kind of crimes of opportunity because people have had their keys left in the car in the driveway, or even open whenever items have been stolen from them. So that's something that I would urge all residents to be vigilant about.
And just to carry on that, I spoke to an officer the other day from Berkeley Heights who told me as of Monday, they already had 3 cars stolen out of Berkeley Heights, which is literally a mile away. So we're not immune from anything. So please just lock your doors and be smart.
So, Lieutenant Nag, I don't know if I've covered that appropriately or if there's anything you'd like to add.
Every single vehicle that has been stolen in town has been due to vehicles being left unlocked, and either one or both sets of keys being left inside the vehicle. With laptops, purses, it's really, right now it's being looked at, it's just an opportunistic crime where they're going down the street, pulling on door handles, and getting into the cars. There has been no forced entry whatsoever into these vehicles. It's all just been checking door handles and finding keys right in the center. So just take an extra second, lock the car, and take your keys with you, probably avoid it.
Lieutenant, this is something that seems to happen periodically. Is this, it's like cyclical, it happens every 2 years?
There's a task force created by the state police that oversees the auto thefts. And it is, some of it is either getting initiation or they're sent out to prove themselves to the members. Most of the vehicles are recovered in Newark, usually within a few hours of them being taken. Every single vehicle that was taken in town over history has been recovered in and around Newark. So it's pretty much picked up, driven back. None of them have been stripped or anything to that nature. There are some vehicles from surrounding towns that have been stripped, but almost taken for a joyride back to Newark and then dropped off either on the side of Newark or when they run out of gas. They just leave it there and just recover.
So it's the moral, don't put gas in your car?
No, I think it was don't leave the keys in.
So this last one, they did take the vehicle, and then they checked a couple vehicles further down. The keys were not in the vehicle, but the vehicle was unlocked. So they were nice enough to take the credit card from another vehicle and fill up gas. So, don't leave the car unlocked.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That it, Brendan?
That's it.
So consent agenda, it looks like there are just a couple of items. So I'm looking for a motion for Resolution 18-051, 18-052.
2.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. We'll go right into the discussion items. The Traffic Advisory Committee survey. Now, I don't know, I was going to pass it to you, that's what I thought.
Okay, so there were 2 issues that recently have come before the Traffic Advisory Committee. The first is that people are using Lackawanna Boulevard as a cut-through to avoid Mountain Avenue light on their way to and from the train station, the Gillette train station. The second is that a Railroad Avenue resident complained that, or she brought the issue of parking to the attention of the Traffic Advisory Committee. Residents say that it's a safety issue, that when people park on the other side of the road, opposite the houses on the railroad side, that there's no access for emergency vehicles to turn around. Getting back to the, those are the two issues. Getting back to the Lackawanna Boulevard, because Mountain Avenue is a county road, the township would need county approval to make any changes. So we had a county representative at the Traffic Advisory Committee meeting, and after some discussion, the committee decided they would do surveys of the residents on Railroad Avenue and surveys of the residents on Lackawanna to see if they supported changing traffic patterns. So on Lackawanna Boulevard, there were turning restrictions, that there would be no left turn during a few hours in the morning, and I don't have the exact hours in front of me. 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the evenings on Mondays through Fridays. So those no turn restrictions would be from Valley Road, making the left onto Lackawanna, and from, on the opposite way, come the opposite way, no turn onto Jersey Avenue, which connects to Lackawanna. So surveys were issued to 32 people who have houses on Lackawanna Boulevard. And we got 22 responses. There were 10 no's and 12 yeses. This map depicts the people who voted yes are in yellow, and the people who voted no are in blue. So as you can see, there's really no rhyme or reason on Lackawanna for who voted which way. And it should be noted that one of the people who voted yes believes that residents should be exempt from the restriction, which is difficult to do for the police. So it is essentially a tie there. If the governing body decides to put the restriction in because Valley Road is a county road, the county recommends that you put up signs for a test period of 2 weeks and see how it goes. So what would have to happen is the governing body would have to pass an ordinance, and then the county would ultimately concur. But they prefer a 2-week test period. On Railroad Avenue, the restriction was supposed to be no parking on the north side of Railroad Avenue, that is the side closest to the railroad tracks, east of Main Street. So the survey question was, do you support prohibiting parking in that area? There were 17 surveys sent out to the property owners on Railroad Avenue. We got 10 responses, and there were 5 yeses and 5 nos. And the yeses, probably to be expected, are the people that live in the houses on Railroad Avenue. The yeses are in yellow, and the nos are in blue. So it is primarily the business owners who said no, and the people who live there who said yes. So that is split 50-50. The Traffic Advisory Committee wanted to do the survey and then give the results to the governing body so that you could decide. We assumed they'd come out stronger one way or the other, but they're both evenly split. So now it is up to you to decide what
Yeah.
you'd like to do.
I mean, one of the things we could do here as a Traffic Advisory Committee is perhaps we reconvene with this new information and maybe come up with a recommendation to the Township Committee, and now based on these data, and when we can have the discussion as a recommendation.
So I actually had a question, if I could. The issue with Lackawanna Boulevard, the last time this raised itself, it was an issue around speeding on the road. Is that still the fundamental issue, or is the question now specifically, oh, we don't like the volume of vehicles on the street?
I don't know.
In other words, my concern is if this is a response to the speeding problem, to me, it's kind of the wrong answer. If this is a discussion about volume control, that's something different.
I am going to take a guess that it's both.
Yeah,
That
it
it's
was
the
both.
volume, right, that it's the volume of people going down this residential street rather than going down the wider, Mountain Avenue. So it's a matter of volume and speed.
But it certainly started out, and I think Lieutenant Naga can affirm to this, it was about speeding.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like the residents are split between this largely, right? I mean, it's off.
They
by-
are
yeah.
split almost
Yeah,
exactly.
It's one road off either way. I
Yeah.
mean, I think your suggestion is fine. Go off and
Yeah.
see if there's something else we can come up with. I mean, my own 2 cents is this is a public roadway, right? All the taxpayers of Long Hill pay for this road and should be able to use it. That's my own.
Yeah, but there
Take
are,
on it.
and I'll play devil's advocate, but there are roadways in town that are one way, right? Or, I mean, that doesn't, just because
Well-
everybody pays for it doesn't mean it has to be made.
but everybody could
Right.
use it here, it's just restricted at certain times.
It's restricted at certain times, right?
Lieutenant Naga's here, so maybe we can take advantage of that.
The original complaint started out as speeding, and shortly thereafter, it was brought up that the volume of traffic traveling in Lackawanna.
Lieutenant, is your mic on?
on?
There's a little. I'll hold it.
I think we had some
The-
trouble with that last night.
The ones at the table.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah, if you want to go to the table,
Is that long enough?
No, just sit, I mean,
Try this one.
There's-
Lieutenant, would you mind sitting at the table? We're going to keep calling you up all night anyway.
Yeah.
So the original complaint was speeding. Shortly thereafter, it followed, there was a complaint about the volume of traffic, specifically due to the commuters going back and forth from the train lot. The issue expanded when there was a discussion when a traffic light was installed at Valley Mountain that turned additional volume onto Lackawanna. The complaint was that before the traffic light installation, there was not a problem. Once they installed the traffic signal at Valley Mountain, people used Lackawanna as a cut-through to beat the traffic signal or to get to the train line. So we looked at restricting it during the commuting hours that were problematic. There was issues over safety for the kids, speeding complaints. And then there was also an issue over one of the streets off of Lackawanna that was extremely narrow, that it really wasn't designed to handle that type of traffic. So that's why it was brought up to the Traffic Advisory Committee. But I think the idea behind the Traffic Advisory Committee was to take all these things into consideration, make a recommendation before the governing body, and then, the governing body would either support it or make a different recommendation. So, like Committee Member Ray said, we would do that and then bring it before you.
I think that's,
Yep, yeah, that's fair. Yep.
okay.
In terms of railroad, though, I don't necessarily think that, limiting parking would solve some of the congestion down there. I'd actually think that expanding the parking on Railroad Avenue would be approach to consider, because we have all the property to the north to expand the road, make it actually wider.
And to that point, I guess we thought we had asked the planning board for some recommendations. When we spoke with them last night, they were waiting for a letter from us directing them.
Yeah.
So,
But-
I agree with Bruce.
No, but
Well,
these are two separate
Yeah,
issues.
The
right?
letter was around the ordinance requirements.
Exactly,
for-
Right.
For
for
parking with
parking for
buildings, not
businesses.
around finding new parking, or not finding parking.
No, but, okay, but the
We
idea is. there's
we wouldn't help the issue if we took away parking, because we're gonna take a
Yeah.
lack of parking situation and make it worse.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
do that absent any other action.
Didn't we approve Paul Ferreira to give him money, the engineer, to do some work down at the end of the railroad?
So what happened was that issue came up again about, or that issue came up in the past about carving out some of the grass to put parking in that area on Railroad Avenue. And there are wetlands there, the possibility of wetlands there. So you had asked to have Paul Ferraro put a quote together, which a few meetings ago I brought back. It was, I believe, $1,200 was the first, I think it was 1,200 was the whole study, and it was even less for the first aspect of it. But you had asked to go back and have him put a quote together for the entire length.
Right, because at the end of Railroad Avenue, we own,
Right.
there's township property, the possibility of putting in a municipal parking lot down at the end of Railroad Avenue was not part of that original quote.
Right.
That was just for the parking along Railroad Avenue.
So we don't have that quote back yet for the wetland study for all the way down.
So then that's something that, once we have that, then we can start to talk about this a little bit more, probably at the Traffic Advisory Committee as well.
Where did we leave the idea that, in the immediate sense, if we change the ordinance to allow off-street parking with both the middle school and St. Vincent de Paul there?
But I
If
think,
they will-
no, right, I mean, I think that was one of the things that, in the planning board discussed it last night, right?
Right.
Where they want to have some direction from, is they want the letter, I guess Jack would send them a letter, and basically they wanted the parameters of what we wanted them to consider, which I think we said everything's on the table, right, from, yeah, it was, from zero parking requirements to.
We need to send them a letter when you're on the board?
That was, we talked about that last night, and right, I mean, the mayor was there, and they seemed insistent that they receive a letter.
Let's send them a letter.
Yeah.
Who's asking for the letter?
Uh,
Chairman?
The chair. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, I think they wanted some guidance. They,
Will they accept electronic communication? Does that have to be certified? Will they accept electronic communication?
the request was,
Fax, maybe?
I think a
It's
letter.
ridiculous.
A letter was all that the planner in particular wanted, in order to, as I say,
With that
put the meets and bounds
with
to.
that
Just another
could-
thing,
could we
make sure that
direct
nobody's
Jack
billing
and
for
send
that
it
letter?
Yes. Yes.
And I'll say, please consider all
All options. Yeah.
By email?
for solving the
Right.
downtown Sterling parking problem.
Right.
And send it,
Yeah.
But
So I think
but
we
this
can-
is-
so-
This is something for the board to discuss
Yeah.
and debate, right? Not
Yeah.
necessarily
That's what my letter's
Kevin,
gonna say.
right?
Well, be careful where you send that
Well,
letter, because
no,
the
no, I
town's
think
gonna
it
get a
was-
bill for somebody to read that letter.
No, I think it was everybody, as the discussion went, the chairman asked the planner what had happened and what was supposed to happen, and that's what he reported. And so we said that we would come back tonight and make sure that the letter was written, and basically we would discuss what we wanted them to consider.
I think we
which
can
is
agree an email is-
everything. An email suffices, yeah.
Thanks.
Although it has to have your personal seal on it.
I use my fountain pen to sign it.
all right, I think we can move on now?
Yes.
All right,
I
so,
have one.
tax prepayments, and I'll turn it again over to Nancy, but for as long as I've lived in town, you were always able to pay your taxes. So the tax law change out of Washington didn't change that. You were always able to prepay. Whether it was deductible or not, or whether it is deductible or not on your federal taxes, that's not something this committee is going to wade into. But
Right, and the issue came up at the last meeting about whether or not everyone received a prepayment discount. And while you may not have received it when you showed up at the tax office to pay your bill, if you had a pre-printed check, it was already filled out, or if in the crowds, the tax office was very crowded on several days right before the end of the year. If for some reason there was a mistake and you didn't get it, you can rest assured that you did get it because the tax collector went back to every file and made sure that everybody received a credit on their next quarter's, the next quarter that's due that you hadn't already paid for. You received whatever credit you should have gotten in person, you received it on your next credits, your next quarter's tax bill. So there really is no, I know that you were the mayor then, the mayor asked me for a list, or could we send letters, and there really is no, no group separated out that didn't get their, discount on the spot. So they're all kind of combined, so there really is no way to tell the difference. So as I said at the last meeting, if you think that for some reason you didn't get a discount, feel free to call the tax office and they'll be happy to look it up for you. But I can assure you that everybody received a credit. And just as a matter of information, we took in that week $3.8 million.
And the credit, and I think I confirmed it with Jack, it's always been, for as long as I can remember, 0.5% per quarter in advance. So 0.5% for the first,
Well, we-
1% for the,
We lowered it last year
To what
or a
level?
year and a half ago.
No,
It
you're
used to
right.
be a lot
be
higher.
It used to be.
So which brings us to a discussion. This prepayment costs the town a little bit of money on next year's budget line. Do we have a projection of what the line item hit is on this? Because unfortunately, we discount the entire tax bill,
That's correct.
not just the municipal tax bill. We discount the school portion and the county portion, but we still have to pay them in full.
So the discounted amount is approximately $30,000?
So we have a $30,000 hole in next year's budget.
But we have the use of that money. I think
Right,
that's
we
the
pay the-
rationale.
We do have from a cash flow perspective, we have the use of that money, but from a budgeting perspective
Right.
and from a P&L perspective, we have a $30,000 line item hit on next year's budget where we still have to pay the school the full amount of their money, but we gave a discount.
when due.
When due, correct.
When due. I
Right.
want to be very clear on
Right,
that.
but we're not
County-
making the interest we just paid, is the point. We're not collecting 0.5% every 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, is that something we want to reconsider?
That's why I'm bringing that up.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
that's,
And now, granted, this is,
Once in a
these are,
This is a
this
once in a while.
this is exceptional circumstances, but nevertheless, they,
right,
they,
it is,
they occur.
it is extenuating circumstances, and to be honest, I, at the time, and we had reduced it about a year and a half ago, I did not realize that was that we were actually discounting the school portion as well. I had incorrectly assumed that it was a discount only on the municipal expense. And, so we're only, 24% out of the entire bill. So this is something we could revisit. Do we want to eliminate the prepayment discount entirely? I mean, we're going to have fun finding, $30,000 just
Well, we don't have to worry about this right now. 'cause-
now. No, we,
But we
Yeah,
do
it's done.
before next year's reorg.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
reviewed every reorg.
But what?
well, we can amend.
Okay, but
we
it's
can
not
amend it.
30.
Or you could,
Yeah.
you're
The
right.
the cash earns something, although it's minimal. It earns something. I don't know what the answer to that is.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'll
We might
find
be-
out what that.
We'll find out, but I
getting.
suspect,
Do we know
our
anybody
money
that
is-
works at the state that could help us with the,
Nobody
Financial-
creditable.
No,
Anybody in state government in finance?
just long-term investing? Deals with this?
I would go with Brigada, put it on black. That's just
That's-
me. All right, so. I
So do we
think-
want to raise this next time as a modified resolution to
I
eliminate?
think we should talk about it as we
Or-
go
or-
through the budget process,
Okay.
because
That's fair.
because we'll have a better handle on it.
Second question I had about that was when the homeowners get their next quarter statement, will there be any indication that there was a credit applied?
It will show a credit balance.
Right, I think it'll show a balance. I don't know that it'll show.
Well,
a credit.
you know, my bank does everything, right? So I pay them monthly, and then my mortgage company pays the taxes, so I never actually see the bill. But for those that see the bill, are they suddenly going to get 1 month's bill that might be a little bit lower, and then expect that the next quarter?
Well,
You know, not
So-
knowing is kind of confusing,
So it will probably be even more confusing because most people pay the first and second quarter,
right?
and the third and fourth always goes up because, you
Right.
know, it's the new budget year. So, while it may, there may be the reduction to those people who had it credited, their bill will probably be more because the third and fourth quarter is always higher. So it'll be kind of confusing.
Right, but the third quarter, if they have a credit due, the credit would get applied to the third quarter. Their bill will be lower than it would normally be.
Except that it'll probably be higher than the first and second. I have to tell you, most of these credits, the average credit was like $30, $40. That's what the discount was. So it's 0.5% for the first quarter, 1, and then 1.5, and then 2.
Right.
So we're not talking, you know, there were just a lot of people. It's $3.8 million. So the average person's $30, $40. So I don't think they would know a difference, you know, based on their third quarter. As I said, since third and fourth quarter always go up after first and second, anyway.
You
And
can
maybe-
go online to see what your balance is.
Yeah, but maybe that's
Yeah.
maybe that's the thing that we on a case by case basis, right? I mean, I can't imagine you're going to get en masse people coming to town hall talking about it. I mean, you might get the odd phone call, and we just do it on a case by case basis.
Right, and that's why I said last time and this meeting, if you really are concerned that you didn't get
Yeah.
the discount,
Okay.
you know, just call.
Yeah.
Colette in the tax office would be happy to take your call.
Right.
Okay, let's move along. New business. Seeing none?
Can you skip, I'm sorry, I had one thing for old business. I just wanted to report that we had 13 no-knock registrations as of 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Can you register on the police website, or we have to physically go there?
Physical form.
Okay.
Of course, that's the
Where do we, is the form available online, or we have to go pick it up at the PD, then?
Nope, it's available online, it's available on the police department's Facebook. You can just print out right from there.
But in order to get the sticker, the window decal, you either have to go to the police department, or if you want it mailed to you, there's a $1 charge.
Is it still enforceable if I don't have a sticker? Say, for example, I'm on the no-knock registry, and I don't put the sticker on, and they knock.
But then there's no way of warning them,
Tough to
right?
convict them.
Well, they're supposed
Well, they have a list. They get
So
the
get a list.
list.
That's what I thought.
Right, the solicitors will get a list of just the addresses and a ID number that we would use to identify certain things, so.
But people need to put it up, or
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, we
probably
need-
need to throw it out in court.
Yeah, we need to have it.
I mean, they've got the option, they've got the sticker, so they want to enforce it.
All right, thank you.
So any more old business? Seeing none, just a couple of announcements. Brendan, I can see that smirk on your face. Rabies shots, clinics available for all dogs and cats Saturday, January 13th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Bernards Township Public Works Garage, for those who don't know where that is, 277 South Maple Avenue in Basking Ridge. And Debbie, when are the dog licenses?
Dog license renewals are due by the end of the month. Rabies certificates have to be valid through October 31st of this year.
Okay. So all you dog lovers out there, make sure you, and cat lovers, I should say.
We don't license cats.
You don't like cats?
We don't
License.
license cats.
Oh.
We like cats, we just don't license them.
At this point, I would like to open up the meeting to the public for remarks and statements pertaining to any matter. Seeing none?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.